In this video, you'll learn how to map XML data to XtraGrid cells and perform custom painting. The layout painted is a Scrabble board, but the same technique can be used for defining any custom layout. So let's get started. We'll start with a Windows Form application. Define an XML file that contains cell data you want to paint. For this example, I used the basic layout of a Scrabble board, copying the colors, text, and value of each square based on the Scrabble game from Entertainment Arts on my cell phone. From the toolbox, drag and drop a grid control onto the form and dock it to fill the form's area. Let's set the form size to 650 by 460. A Scrabble game has 225 cells in a 15 by 15 arrangement, so click on the Grid Controls Run Designer button. The default view is the grid view. In the property editor for the grid control, click on the Columns button, and using the Add button, add 15 columns to the grid. In the designer, make sure the field name property for the grid columns are column 1, column 2, column 3, all the way through column 15 respectively. This facilitates data binding. In the View section of the designer, let's set the Appearance.Focus Cell back color to transparent. And set the Focus Cell Option subproperty Use Back Color to True. With the Appearance property expanded, expand the Row property and its Text Options child property. Set the H alignment to center and V alignment to center. This will cause the tile content to be displayed centered in the grid. In the View section, scroll to the Horizontal Line property and set the back color property to black. Then set the Option subproperty Use Back Color to True. Let's follow the same steps for the Vertical Line property. Set the Grid View's Group Footer Show Mode property to Hidden. Next, expand Options Behavior and set the Editable property to False. Then let's scroll to the Options Customizations property and set the following properties to false. Allow column moving, allow column resizing, allow filter, allow group, and allow quick hide columns. Let's expand the Options Selection property and set Enable Appearance Focused Row to False. And Multi-Select Mode to Cell Select. This allows you to select a single cell at a time rather than selecting the row. Expand the Options View property for the grid and set Show Column Headers to False. Show Detail buttons to False. Show Filter Panel Mode to Never, Show Group Panel to False, and Show Indicator to False. Let's scroll to the Grid View's Row Height property and set the row height to 50. Click on the Events button to switch to the Events view and double-click to implement a custom draw cell event. Let's close the Grid Control Designer. Now, select the form and set the form's Double Buffered property to True and the form border style to Fix 3D, the maximum box to False, and the minimum box to False. Next, double-click on the form and add a using statement called PerfectScrabble.classes. Then we'll add a field for the game board class and the data list class. Next, we'll implement the form load event. The for loop will populate the data list, and the remaining statement makes some adjustments to the row height and binds the data source. Finally, implement the custom draw cell by calling the GameBoard.drawGameBoard method. DrawGameBoard calls drawBasicGameBoard, and drawBasicGameBoard uses the cell data information and the cell event handler to fill in the individual grid cells with the XML data. And that's it. Let's run the application. For further documentation on the XtraGrid, please click on the link below. Thanks for watching, and as always, thank you for choosing DevExpress.